Keep the love in your heart and hold your head high. Harbor no hate.
Welcome to the Let That Go show with Kassira, McKee and Richard Skipper. This show is based on Kassira's book, Let That Go, where she guides people in completely blessing and releasing people, places, and all kinds of things. Kassira and Richard share personal insights and experiences based on concepts in Kassira's book, with guests and you, their co-hosts. Are you ready to let that go? Let's go.
Hello, Kassira. How
Hey,
are
baby.
you?
Hi, everybody.
Hello there. I am so thrilled that you're here tonight. First of all, who or what are you celebrating tonight?
Myself.
I'm celebrating you.
And you, because we've talked a lot.
Yeah.
You and my friends that watch the show, but also I'm celebrating the life of Queen Elizabeth.
Yes.
A 70-year monarch. Man, you can't beat that with a stick, can you?
And I am telling everybody it's time to let that go, and it's time to accept the new.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, and I'm glad that you started there tonight before we go into talking about anger, because I was thinking about this not too long ago. I think how lucky this woman was that she lived to be 97.
Yeah.
She served for over 96.
Yeah.
She served over 70 years as the monarch, and so many changes in the world.
Right.
But someone said that she, why I think she resonated with so many people around the world is that she was a constant. It was like she was always there. We always knew that she was there. And that was something that everyone held on to. And so when I think of someone who has lived that long, and I feel that she served her purpose, she gave so much to the world. Her gifts will continue to go on long after she's gone, and she will continue to be talked about and to be celebrated as life goes on. And then there are people whose lives are cut so short. Just last week, someone that booked me in Provincetown a few years ago passed away at the age of 62.
Wow.
I'm going to be 62 in February.
That's young.
And that's young. And that's young. And at 62, I have done a lot, but on the other hand, I feel like I've yet to begin to live my life. I really
I think that's normal. That's the new normal. I think people our age, a lot of people feel that way. Well, that person's done that, but I haven't done this. So there must be something wrong with me. No, we cannot compare ourselves to others, period. We just can't do it. That's a death sentence to compare yourself to somebody else.
Absolutely. And that is one thing that I have had a habit of, and trying to break that. And that's going to take us into our subject tonight. But before we go there, I want to acknowledge 3 remarkable people before we start tonight. May I do that? First of all, they are our sponsors. And I am so excited that they have taken upon themselves to sponsor all of our shows, not only tonight, but throughout the week. First of all, EMC Studios in Dumont, New Jersey. That's Aaron Caleb. So if you have friends out there who are, just starting out in the business, wanting to be a singer, or someone late in life who wants to be a singer, please consider the EMC Studios. All of the information will be on at the very end of this show. Look at that. Also, Deborah Stone, who you and I both know very well.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you,
yes,
Erin. Yeah.
She is sponsoring this, and Erin will be at the Laurie Beachman Theater in New York. If you are able to be in New York on the 9th and you're able to of October, and you're able to attend her show, by all means do so. And if you're able to get to New York the very next night, our next sponsor is Kurt Peterson, who, of course, was in The Baker's Wife and was,
Oh, yes.
yes, on
Really? Thank you,
yes,
Kurt. Wow, that's a
was
big one.
in the revival of
Okay.
West Side Story on
Thank
Broadway,
you, Kurt.
and so many other phenomenal shows.
Mm-hmm.
And not only are they sponsoring us, but all of you out there, please take a moment to thank them. And if you're able to help them out in any way by spreading the word, by what they're doing, supporting them in any way you can, that's what it's about. You just keep paying it forward. And I want to take the moment to thank them all and thank you all for being here tonight. And we're going to talk about anger.
Well, my goodness, what is there not to talk about anger? During the pandemic, you and I had a lot of conversations about angry people. During the pandemic, as we all know, the vaxxed people were angry at the unvaxxed people. The unvaxxed people were angry at the vaxxed people. It was a huge war, and there was a lot of anger during the pandemic. Now we're beyond it.
Do you think so?
I'm going to share something personal. I do know people who were unvaxxed and ended up in the hospital for months, then wish they had gotten vaxxed. And they're no longer mad at people like me for getting vaxxed. However, we've got other kinds of anger swirling around in our nation, swirling around on the planet. And I find that, during the pandemic, I just, being the person that I am, I said, okay, you don't want to get vaxxed? It's fine. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. If you don't want to do something like this, fine. I'm going to get vaxxed. And if you don't like it, it's fine. I don't hate you. I don't. However, there was a very dear friend of mine I wouldn't let into my home thereafter who refused to get vaxxed. And then several months later, she contacted me and said, okay, I read the statistics, and not that I'm addicted to being right about this. Okay. Yet she, contacted me and she said, okay, I got vaxxed so I could work, and now I get it. And I'm like, okay, fine. But I'm still your friend. And I invited her into my home, and I would go to her. I said, I will come to your home, but I'm going to wear a mask. If you come to my home, I'll please wear a mask. Well, she wasn't willing to do that. And she was really mad at me. And then she got over it. I'm the only vaxxed person in my entire family. Just so you know. They are in Texas. I'm not, except for my parents. My parents are older, and they got vaxxed immediately. They were like, we're old and we're getting vaxxed. I'm like, okay, fine. They've been jabbed a couple of 3 times. The rest of them did not get jabbed, and I accepted it. I accepted it. It's not up to me whether people feel comfortable with it or not. It's up to them. Yet for me to hold on to anger that people are not on my page, I can't do. It's too much energy. It takes too much energy to be mad at all those people. And I don't go there. I just don't go there.
But are people not getting vaxxed because they are making a political statement? Are they not getting vaxxed because, and I would love to hear from everyone watching tonight.
Yeah, tell us.
But are they not getting vaxxed because it's a political statement? Are they not getting vaxxed because they are actually afraid, not knowing what is in the vaccine?
It's both.
Or any of these things? Because I am a real proponent of when my doctor or someone tells me, this is what you need to do for your own health, I am going to take care of it. I also believe that if someone chooses to make a choice for their own personal political views or whatever, that's a choice that they are making for themselves. And we live in a democracy, and may we continue to live in a democracy. So I want to say, I respect your right to choose not to get vaccinated.
Absolutely.
That being said, if someone such as Kassira says, I feel uncomfortable inviting you into my home because you have not been vaccinated, please do not get angry with her.
Or they can wear a mask. And here's the thing, it's your home. And there are people that aren't vaxxed that invite people into their homes, and you do what when in Rome, do what the Romans do. And I don't have any prejudice towards anybody about the vaccination. I don't
Right.
have I don't have any prejudice at all. And I have heard the stories about why people aren't getting vaxxed.
Mm-hmm.
I know some celebrities that didn't get vaxxed. I know some celebrities that did get vaxxed. And I'm just like, okay. But yet beyond that, there's more anger in especially our country, about so many things, about gun control, about Roe versus Wade, about Black Lives Matter, LGBTQAI rights. There's so much anger. And it all, to me, it all boils down to, I'm kind of getting political here. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. It all boils down to people's choices. Do we not have the right to choose, or do we not? And when we choose, do we have the right to live peacefully or not?
Well, it's
in our
interesting. Country. And again, I'm not going to get political either. But the other party, I'm a Democrat, and I will put it out there. Okay. I'm a Democrat, and if you are a Republican, that's a choice that you make, and I'm not going to knock anyone for that.
Choice. Of course.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Uh-huh. The very tenet of the Republican Party, from what I've been taught my entire life, and I grew up in South Carolina, folks. I babysat when I was in high school. True story. I spent an afternoon taking care of Strom Thurmond's children, because Strom Thurmond remarried very late in life. His wife was in her 20s and he was in his 80s, and he had young children. I worked at Grand Strand Amusement Park in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Mr. Parker asked me if I would spend the afternoon taking the kids on the rides in the amusement park, which I did. At that time, I did not know much about Strom Thurmond and his political views or anything. I was there just to take these kids on the rides. So, but I've always been taught that the other party, their very tenet was a less government in their lives. And yet everything, and this is, and it's on both sides. It's on the Democratic side and it's the Republican side, of getting into the lives of other people. What has happened in our culture, and this goes way beyond the last president in the White House, this has been happening, and it's been seeping into every aspect of our lives over the last, I would say, 25 years, more and more, is a sense of entitlement, where everyone feels it's me, instead of the bigger picture. And when you think of only me, when you think of only me, instead of the bigger picture, Doug says, I thought you weren't getting political. I'm not.
Yeah, I saw that. Doug, hang on.
I'm not getting political.
Let him finish.
I'm just talking about the bigger picture of respecting everybody's viewpoints. That's where I'm going with this. Okay. That you have to be able to be open-minded. And I believe that if people... Openness. But I believe that if people... first of all, I lead a very full life. My husband and I both lead very full lives. And when we got married, we were one of the first 100 couples in the state of New York to get married. You can look up, and we were all over the internet. We were on CNN. We were around the world. And as a result, we were almost like the poster children for same-sex marriage around the world. So reporters came to our house, and everyone came to our house. And as I was being interviewed, I said, where I live, I live between two houses, and there's a church across the street. And I am too busy living my life to think about what's going on in these homes on any given night. And even right now. And I can guarantee you they are not thinking about and they're not even watching the show right now. They are not thinking about what I'm doing. And I believe that if people would find something worthwhile to do with their lives, they would be too busy to be caught up in the busyness.
Oh, well, I don't know about. Well, that's easy to say. I don't know about that.
I think so, and I think that's where a lot of the anger comes from.
I think a lot of the anger comes from people being addicted to being right, and they're not able to let go of control of others, and they're not willing to see the other side. I'm the only non-Republican in my family. I am one of the few vaxxed people in my family, and we're still a family. I do have to say that my friends, all of my friends, people I considered my friends and people I know well and known over the years, are all vaccinated. It just so happens that they are. I didn't push that on them. It was their choice. But when it comes to other things like gun control, Roe versus Wade, I've got people all over the map in my life. A lot of them are on my page. Some of them are not. We're still friends from a distance. I can't say that I have regular conversations with them because some of them are really argumentative about it, which I'm not. Yeah, but that's where the anger really comes out, is the argumentative nature of it. And it really does stems from people not being willing. You don't have to agree with the other side, but just hear it. Just hear it. If we're not on that page, can we say, okay, I'm not on that page. This is the way I feel, and this is what I believe. Yet I can see where they're coming from over there, and that's where they are over there. And let's not have a war about it. You know what I mean? We have so many wars and going on our planet right now.
Well,
there's fighting going on our planet that we don't even know about, that the military knows about, over all kinds of things. And it stems from control. It stems from being addicted to being right. And it stems from, a lot of it is anger. That they're not getting, certain sides are not getting everything they desire and require. They're determined to win and make sure the other person loses. And, you guys know that I practiced Nichiren Buddhism for 34 years. In Nichiren Buddhism, we always pray. I don't like the word always, but there are exceptions. We always pray that everyone can win somehow, that everyone can win in a situation. And very few people are on that page. They must win or they're losing, and that's all they know. They're going to win and the other person's going to lose, and that's all they know. That's not diplomacy. Diplomacy is, how can we all win?
Well, I can tell everybody how they can all win.
Oh, okay.
Yes, by getting your book.
Oh.
No, seriously. I was just reading a section in your book, and it's very interesting because one of the things that you talk about in your book are the stories that we continuously tell. And some of these stories, and I'm going to paraphrase, so forgive me, but you talk about in your book, and you even ask the question, if we give these stories up, then what's left? What's left? And and also anger is a passion. It's a passion, just as lovemaking is a passion. And there are endorphins that come from anger.
Exactly.
And there are certain people, and I've got a very good friend of mine, and I swear to God, I think, or Buddha, or whatever it is that you, I swear to the universe, that
Uh-huh.
she thrives on pushing people's buttons because it gives her a charge.
Yeah. Well, yes, but here's the thing. The only way that charge can find a spark is that the person on the other end is going for that charge as well.
Exactly.
You see, if they don't, if the charge doesn't create a spark, they'll hang up and call somebody else. The trick is to not give them the spark from their fuel. I have an ex friend. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. XXX. That used to. I'm looking in the glossary of my book because I want to read something. That you know, he used to tell stories about other people that other people didn't even know. He couldn't wait to tell these stories. Well, she did, and he did, and they said, and she said. And I got to the point where I was like, I don't want to hear these stories anymore. They have nothing to do with me. Well, I want to tell the story. Well, I don't. Why would I want to hear that story? First of all, it's negative, and you're gossiping about them, and I don't know them. I'm not invested. So why in the world would I want to hear this? I don't. Well, I want to tell. Well, I finally got to the part where I was like, then call someone else and tell the story because I don't want to hear it. And they were usually negative, and they were gossipy. What's the point? It's entertainment. It was an
And they were not,
entertainment value
so I
for
can't,
him.
and I will throw caution to the wind and believe and I first of all I know who this person is, but and guess.
Oh no, there's more than one. There's more than
well,
one,
I'm
darling.
gonna
You don't know this
second
person,
guess
but I know
that
the other person.
these
Yeah.
stories were not to elevate these people that they talked about, but
Right.
to tear them down.
Yes. Yeah, and you're referring to my chapter on negative stories and complaining,
Yes.
which is on page 148 of the book. And here's how I start that out. And it's an Abraham Hicks.
No, I'm actually reading earlier than that.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm reading
What's the page?
just about ownership. Just before that, I was
Okay.
reading in the late 60s about beliefs.
What's the page number?
I'm trying to find it.
Okay.
5 reasons we hold on in that section.
Okay.
Truth, identity. 62.
Oh, how we identify ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a juicy part of the book. And in your book club, we're going to start talking about that. Yeah. Which one was it? Because I know you read about openness and willingness. I know you did that because we talked about it recently.
But for me personally, and I'm speaking about me, I know what, and I love what Natasha just wrote here. She's the only anger I cannot handle is when I'm angry with myself.
Oh.
And I love that, Natasha, because I know what my triggers are. I know the things that get under my skin that are going to be my triggers. So one of the things I was just reading the other day, I just got this new journal that I just got, and it's called My Best Self Journal.
Ew.
And yes, and I'm just writing in it. I love this color too. And one of the things that I was writing about the other day, and it's very simple to do. When your phone rings, or in the morning when you sit down to check your emails, take a deep breath and say, I know those things that are going to set me off. I know what they are. And I'm just going to take a deep breath before it. When you see on the caller ID who's calling you, you know who those people are that trigger you. Before you respond, take a deep breath and respond to it and say, no matter what happens, it's not going to trigger me today. And it makes a difference. It's a very simple thing to do. And I've been able to make it work.
Good for you. And what you're referring to is the reason in the chapter on 5 reasons we hold on page 62, reason 1, how we identify ourselves. People sometimes, and I write an example because I've met so many people like this. Hi, I'm Monica. I've been married and divorced twice. Parentheses, both of my husbands were horrible. I got laid off from my job last year. My boss was awful. Waiting to hear that story. I had a horrible childhood. That story is really juicy. My car was hit in total last month. Another juicy story. And I've had a horrible week, and this is why. You know, and especially when it concerns other people, we identify often, sometimes, I say often and sometimes depending on the person, but we sometimes identify ourselves with negative stories about other people. And it really has nothing to do with us. It has to do with them, but maybe not us, or the other way around. And then on page 190, let me find it for you, 140 something, negative, on negative stories and the stories we tell and are complaining. If you let your dominant intention to be, let me start all over again. If you let your dominant intention be to revise and improve the content of the story you tell every day of your life, it is our absolute promise to you that your life will become the ever improving story. For by the powerful law of attraction, the essence of that which is like unto itself is drawn. It must be. That's Abraham Hicks. So we tell these stories about other people. We tell stories about all these other things that are so negative, and often to people that are comrades that are on the same page. Yet here's the thing: if there's no resolution, what's the point? So you and I have talks about all kinds of stuff. Yet at the end, there's a resolution.
Absolutely.
Okay, what are you going to do about that? What am I going to do about that? What's the answer? What are we going to put forth towards a resolution? What's the resolution? Not, okay, that's crappy. Yes, that's crappy. Okay, bye. No, we can't end it. We gotta find a positive resolution for all.
One of the things that I love that you write about, two things that you write about are, and the imagery is just so strong, is the boomerang effect and the quicksand. And the boomerang effect is, it's almost, and I also have this image of almost like volleyball, because in every single person that's watching right now, I know has experienced this, because every single person that is here is on, and I want an amen, a hallelujah, a yes in response to this. You're all on Facebook. Somebody writes something negative that's either just happened to them. I just went to Starbucks and the barista behind was so nasty to me. I snapped at them and I gave them a quarter and said, "You should be fired. And I will never go back into that Starbucks again." And I stormed out of there, and I will never, ever go back. And then everybody has to jump on that. Almost everybody has to jump on that thread to talk about their experience in a Starbucks with a barista, everything, instead of hitting the delete button. Why even leave that out there to go any further? Which is what I do. When I see, thank you, Cherie, when I see those comments, I don't scroll on by. I hit the hide button. You can delete it, you can hide it, you can stop it in its tracks, because I don't want to see it anymore showing up in my feed. But there's something in human nature where a lot of people, it's like sharing in the misery, commiserating with one another. Where everyone wants to do this. Last week, someone on Facebook posted about going to a restaurant and how miserable her experience was. And I said, well, just imagine if you had gone to the waiter and said, "You must be having a bad day. Is there anything I can do to make your day better?"
I'm a member of a local foodie page here in Santa Fe, and people are constantly posting their reviews of restaurants here in the city. And when there are negative comments, people will either chime in and say, "Yes, I had the same horrible experience," or other people will be honest and go, "That's not my experience at all. I had a fantastic experience there." Here's the thing. We're human beings and we're all in this together. Human beings have rough nights sometimes. We don't know what's going on with the owners. We don't know what's going on in the kitchen. We don't know what went on with the food delivery that day. We don't know if there's a bunch of waiters that called in sick. We don't know. We don't know what's going on there. They had a bad night. They had a bad night. If it's chronic, that's one thing. Yet, we don't know what all these people had going on with their lives. I've seen some really bad reviews of restaurants that I adore.
Me too.
Here, and I'm like, well, they must have had a rough night. They must have been understaffed. Maybe they were out of something. Maybe some. I don't chime in on any of those. I don't weigh in on any of those. I don't say, oh, really? Well, I love it. Oh, really? Oh, yeah, I had a terrible experience there as well. No, I just leave it alone. They can say what they want to say. They're it's a free, this is supposed to be a free country and freedom of speech. They can say what they like, and I don't have to weigh in on it. I don't have to drag them on a chain behind my car through the desert. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't have to make them walk the plank because they said something negative about a restaurant I like. No, I don't have to do that. It's not even necessary. People are, able to say what they say, and if we don't like it, we don't have to say anything. We don't have to. In psychology, one of the terms is jumping into their bodies. We don't have to jump into their body.
Thank you.
We don't have to take on that psychology and that experience. We are who we are. We have our own body, and we have our own psychology, and we don't have to jump into that. If we feel like we have to jump into that, I think that's a time for us to check ourselves.
Well,
why do we feel compelled to do that? Why do we feel compelled to jump in there and take over their body? We don't have to do that.
Somebody posted on Facebook that they went to see Leah Michelle in Funny Girl.
I love her. I love her. I love everything.
Well, she's out of the show.
I haven't seen her. I haven't seen her in the show yet. I adore her. Just so
she's out of the show for 10 days with COVID. Everybody,
bless her heart.
Yeah. But somebody posted that they went to see her and how wonderful she was. But when in the same post talking about how wonderful she was, they tore the other actress down.
Oh, whatever.
And
They compared her. And the other actress is not even there anymore. What's the point?
And I said, what's the point of tearing the other actress down? And I don't get this. But I'll share something with everyone.
What's the point? Yeah.
The other last week, our winner was Anarene Barr. So Anarene Barr is in town, and she wanted to get a group of friends together on Friday night for dinner.
Right.
And there was someone at the table that I've not had the greatest experience with in the past, I'll be honest with you. And as we were all at a long table, so I'm sitting all the way at the end. And as the evening dwindled down, Danny and I and Anarene and this other person were the last 4 people there. We were literally at this restaurant until they said, leave. And so I'm sitting with this person, and she says, I have a minor bone to pick with you. And I said, okay.
Who said this?
This other person.
Okay, the other person you did not want to have an interaction with. Okay.
And she said a few years.
And of course, she had to. Hang on. Let's go back.
No, before you go there, though,
but she had to come to you anyway. You were staying away from her, and she came to you anyway.
No, I moved down to where we were all sitting. The 4 of us were at the table, and she said, "I have a bone I'd like to pick with you, because a few years ago, I was promoting a show, and you made a comment that hurt me, and I want to know why you said it." And I said, "If I said something that hurt you, it was not my intention. Maybe I was having a bad day. Maybe it came across the wrong way. But anyway, I apologize. And if you want to hit me, slap me in the face."
Oh, terrible. Don't do that.
But I said, she laughed when I said that. I said, but I just want to say I'm sorry. What more can I say? I'm sorry that I said something that hurt you. I really am. And I really mean this. And she hugged me, and she said, that means the world to me. We're having dinner on Thursday night.
Okay, so here's the thing. When somebody says, you hurt me, there's so many layers to that statement. did one mean to hurt the other
I did
or
not.
not? And did the other person just react that way? We're responsible for our feelings.
We are
We're
responsible for our feelings, but sometimes things get misconstrued in email.
yes,
or
but
things.
that is, if things are misconstrued, that does require a conversation.
I agree.
Because we are responsible for how we process what happens, and we're responsible for our feelings. Now, I typically psychically know when somebody's out to hurt me. And typically, if someone is saying something and I psychically know that they're out to hurt me, I just completely ignore it. I don't allow it to hurt me. I throw it out the window, and then some people just have no manners. As you know, some people just have no manners, and they just don't care who they hurt. And those are the other people that I let go. I
I
let go.
told you, just this Thursday night, and everyone, I'm not a saint, but someone who has been incredibly rude to me.
Yes.
I called them on it.
Okay.
And I said, you need to be told. I told him, I said, you are an ass, and you need to be told this. And I'm telling you. And I moved on. Yes.
And the response was, what was it? Are you willing to?
I moved on.
You just moved on, and then you didn't wait for the response.
Mm-mm.
Okay, fine.
But this was somebody, when I went over to the table to say hello, he turned his back to me.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, that deserves
a
class takeoff.
I told you this.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Okay, I remember now. Yeah.
But you have to understand, and I'll share a story with you. And I've told this story before, and I'm sure I've told you this story, Kassira. Carol Channing said to me, sitting in the back seat of our car, you have to understand that for every person who likes you, there are an equal number who don't. There are people out there who are going to dislike you for a myriad of reasons. It could be something they heard about you. It could be something they read about you. It could be that you remind them of somebody that they once had a bad experience with. It could be, there are things that are completely out of your control. That is on them. I mean, the three people that were sitting with him the other night when I had that experience came to me at the end of the evening and said it needed to be done, interestingly enough. And I said to one of them, this is his story, not mine. Because I am, yes, she's there. I am.
Richard, let that go.
It's gone. It's gone. I've let it go. It's gone. It's gone.
I'm keeping her handy for you, just in case we get to that moment.
She speaks to me in.
And if you noticed, I brushed her hair.
Yes, she looks great. You have the same hair. You have the same hair tonight.
I brushed her hair. Because you let her hair go. I'm not going to lie. You let it go.
She was in a box. She traveled in a box from New York to.
Okay, whatever. Hello, Richard. Yeah, she wants to say hi. Yes, and I buttoned her jacket. Yeah. Okay. She'll always be with us.
Now the pin that she's wearing was a pin that Carol gave me. That did not come with that jacket.
Oh.
Yes.
I thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, it had to be done. We needed a laugh.
We did, yes, absolutely.
We needed to laugh for a minute.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not going to go into the details yet. I'm going to out myself. So I work in the medical field, and I deal with a lot of people that are on medication. A lot of them are on painkillers. I don't know if you know, but I don't know if you know how many people in America are on oxycodone and anything else. I deal with these people every day, Many of them are angry. They want what I'm going to use the word want because this is what they use. They want what they want and they want it now. They want their drugs and they want them now. I deal with angry people every day that I work in my civilian medical job, and it's a lot. The energy is exhausting. We talked about last week, we talked about energy vampires.
Mhm.
And a lot of you had something to say about the energy vampires, in your environment, and they're real. They're real. People who are one-sided and demanding and angry have an agenda. They're not thinking about how they're affecting other people. They're not thinking about the energy they're giving off. They only know what they want and that they want it now. That's all they know. Especially angry people, people addicted to being right, people who are addicted to winning, who are often angry. And I have had to I had an exhausting day the other day with these people that, as you know, affected me physically. It bombarded my immune system, and I had to take a day off to take care of myself. If more of us would think about the feelings we're feeling and the energy we're giving off and how we're affecting other people, our our planet would be such a better place to live in. It would be so much more positive. And or if we could have a conversation about it, one of my, one of the people I work with dealt with a woman who was just unnerving, and this woman I work with is so nice and I love her, and I heard her say, "You don't have to be so rude about it."
Oh.
And everybody went, "What?" And we heard her say it again, "Well, you don't have to be so rude about it." This is my coworker. And the woman kind of backed down and left, and then the other people that came in were just kind of laughing about it. Yet it's not funny. It's not funny. We have our own agenda. We all get in a line and we stand there and we huff and puff. Yet if we remember that we're all human beings and we're all in this together, and that we're all doing the best we can. I really believe we're all doing the best we can, most of us. Some people we may think aren't, yet maybe they are with what they have to work with and the people they're working with. Maybe we are all doing the best we can in the time frame that we have to do it. It just seems that there's so many of us have a one-sided agenda and we have tunnel vision. Got to get what we desire and require, and we got to get it now. And if you don't give it to me, I'm going to make your life a living hell.
Entitlement. That's what I talk about. Entitlement. I told you.
But it's also selfish. Let's face it, it's selfish. We're not thinking about what's going on behind the scenes, what's going on behind the counter, what's going on behind the desk, what's going on in the doctor's office. How many people are ahead of me? How many people have they seen today? You know what I'm saying? People don't think about that. They just think about what they desire and require in that moment, and they must have it, or they're going to make somebody's life a living hell. And we have all got to be. Here's the thing: I use the word patience, but underneath patience is compassion. What happened to our compassion for each other? What happened to that? With compassion comes patience, and also becomes dialogue. I'm saying, okay, Cherie says, I periodically help an 85-year-old woman where I live. 10 minutes on the phone with her asking the same question over and over, I need a nap. Well, guess what, Cherie? She probably has dementia. I deal with this. She probably doesn't remember that she asked you that question over and over and over again. Just saying. I've had relatives like that. I have older friends like that, that do that question thing over and over again because they don't remember they asked you the question. Sometimes you just got to go outside and sit in a lawn chair with them and have a glass of tea and just watch the sunset, and maybe not talk to them on the phone because they don't know. What were you going to say, Richard?
A couple of years ago, I was doing a show. I was working with Julie Budd, and she was doing a show, and we were backstage, and she was sharing a dressing room with a very well-known actress singer. whose mother was towards the end of her life at the time. And she was saying, it was difficult at night because every night her mom would get dressed and sit at the table waiting for her husband to come home, who had died years before.
Oh.
And she said that she would have to sit down and say, Mommy's not coming home tonight. And I said to her, what's the harm in letting her believe that he's coming home? That gives her a hope. That gives her something to look forward to. And perhaps on some level, perhaps she's experiencing something that the rest of us are missing out on. And she got up and she again hugged me and said, Richard, I never thought about that before. And I've had experiences of dealing with people who have, dementia. I mean, people, again, with everything, every aspect of our lives, we try to put people in the box that we want them to be in.
Yes, exactly.
And they are not in the box that we want to put them in. And again, if she wants to ask 10 times, allow her to ask it 11 times. And may that be the lesson that we come away with tonight. Allow people to be outside the box that we want to put them in. I told you earlier, I went to buy a new pair of shoes this week.
Oh, the story. I like the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was with a very dear friend of mine who went with me. We went early in the morning. She picked me up and we went to the mall and we got there before a lot of the stores had opened. And this store it was this very specific store that I wanted for a very specific pair of shoes. And we got there and she looked it up and the store was scheduled to open at 11 a.m. You talk about words that you've eliminated. One of the words that I've eliminated, you want to hear?
Go ahead.
Supposed.
Oh.
The word supposed. I replaced that word with scheduled. It wasn't so. If it was supposed to happen, it would have happened. That's what I did.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yes. So it was scheduled to open at 11 a.m. And she was like, this is not right that they are not open at 11. This is not fair to their customers and everything. We were the only two people there waiting. So she had to go to the ladies' room, which was on a different floor. So while she was away at the ladies' room, the guy who came to open the store came in and he apologized. He said, I am so sorry. The traffic was horrible getting here.
Sure.
And I said, I understand. It was fine. And I went in. Everything was great. I got the shoes I wanted. I don't like to shop. So I said, do you have these in my size? And he did. And I got the shoes and I left. That was it. But she could have had an argument with him if she had been there at that moment. We need to figure out what the story is. We've got a lot of comments here. I want to.
Can I read a couple?
Yes.
Okay, so Doug says, instead of telling people you made me mad, I always try to say what you did that made me mad. Doug, my take on that is, you said, if we're talking to another person, you said this and did this, and my reaction was, not that they made you mad. I reacted in this way. My reaction was anger because what I felt was blah, blah, blah from what you said. Okay. That's what the first thing I want to say. And then Cherie says to Doug, where are you, Cherie? Where are you, Cherie? Doug McAllister, I always explain to said person what they did or said that upset me, so hopefully they won't do it again. Well, that's controlling, Cherie. We can't control what they're going to do in the future and what they're going to say and do with someone else. All we can say is, you said this or you did this, and this is how I reacted, and this is why. And we don't know if they're doing it on purpose. I know people that are shitty. Can I say shitty?
You did.
Just because they're shitty. I mean, they don't filter. They just say what they want to say, and they're not even thinking about it. And then Aaron says, I think it's about empathy. We have all had bad days, and we have all snapped and been short with people. If we can stop and see ourselves in someone else, have empathy. Yes, Cherie. Yes, Aaron. And in lots of different ways, as well in Buddhism, we believe everyone we believe everyone possesses Buddhahood. Inside of every person we think is horrible is a Buddha. And in Christianity, apparently everybody possesses Christ consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Jesus Christ follower, we all. But however, it's our ego, it's our ego mind and our psychology that gets in the way. We've talked about this before. We've talked about how oftentimes our ego mind is not on the same page as our higher consciousness, or what people call a God mind, or divine spirit, or divinity. Oftentimes our ego mind is not on the same page. And Pam says, for instance, after 9/11, everyone thought we'd all be together and learn compassion. Didn't last. Well, I was one of those people that lived in Manhattan and worked in Manhattan when 9/11 happened. I write about it in the book. I no longer watch news about 9/11 on 9/11. I don't gotta watch it. I was fucking there. Excuse my language. I was there on East 59th Street working in a showroom and lived on the Upper East Side. I don't need to watch that every year. I don't need to commemorate it. I already honored everybody that lost their lives. And I don't watch the newscasts about 9/11 anymore. Why? It was traumatic. And I and a lot of other people were diagnosed with PTSD and GSD and anxiety, or GAD, after that occurrence, just so you know, Pam. So I don't watch it.
I lost one of my very best friends that day.
Oh, honey.
And yes, on the second tower. And, it was very interesting. And I'll share a story with you. I was directing a show at the time. I had a friend, Linda Fields, who has since passed on. And she was doing a show on 18th Street and 8th Avenue. And you could still, the ash and everything, you could see it and feel it in the air. And she was doing this show that was scheduled to open Thursday night. And 9/11, of course, was on Tuesday. So the world is falling apart around us. And Linda, God bless her, Linda she marched to her own drumbeat. That's all I can say. So 3 o'clock in the afternoon, as I am sitting like the rest of the world, comatose almost, watching everything going on, not believing what was happening, she called me up and she said, "Am I doing my show Thursday night?" And I said, "Linda, that's up to you. Whatever you decide to do, I am going to be right by your side. If you decide that you want to do the show, that's fine. And if you decide that you don't want to do the show, that's fine too. But I'm not going to tell you what to do. Whatever you decide to do, I am there for you." And the show, like I said, was called Bedazzled by Broadway. And it was all upbeat show tunes from the 1960s Broadway musicals. So
that's encouraging.
Yes. So she decided that she was going to do the show. So I rewrote her opening monologue. So she came out, her opening song, everybody, and this was 2 days after 9/11, was "On a Wonderful Day Like Today." And she came out and she hit the stage singing "On a Wonderful Day Like Today." I said, just trust that you are making the right choice and the audience will go along with this. If you question it, the audience is going to pick up on that. So she hit the stage, she sang "On a Wonderful Day Like Today," and then there was a bridge, and the music was playing, and she said in the 1960s, when people went to the theater, they went to the theater to escape what was going on in the world. The Vietnam War was going on, music was changing, the drug culture was taking over, there were the Manson murders, there were
the list just goes on.
The list goes on and on and on. But when you went to the theater, the curtain went up, the overture began, and people escaped. That's my goal tonight.
Yes.
The audience was on its feet. And she had the audience right there. And that is what is healing. And this takes us to what Anarene said last week, replacing anger with music and a substitute. We can do that. Here comes Carol again. We can do that.
This folks. Was my goal, Richard. It was my goal, Richard. It was just to make people happy. Yeah.
Yes.
No matter what went on, I toured with her for 2 years. No matter what went on, Carol went on stage.
That's right.
She went on stage with a freaking broken arm and a sling for like a month or 6 weeks or something. Yes.
But Jean, Larry and Jean, and I'll share this story with everyone. Jean and Larry had been together at that time. Same-sex marriage was not legal in New York, so they were not legally wed, but they had been together 35 years. And this is why everyone that being able to be married is important for anyone. I don't care, what side you're on. Jean and Larry had been together 35 years. On 9/11, Jean called Larry and said, I'm in the second tower. We've been told to sit in our seats, that it's the other tower. We are fine. And that was the last call. And after Linda's show, we all went and held a vigil. Larry was convinced that Jean was coming home. And so everybody was convinced that he was going to come back that night. Even though they had been together 35 years, they looked for the next of kin for Jean. And they found Jean's father in North Carolina, who had left Jean and his mom when Jean was 9 years old. And any money, that insurance money, anything, went to his father instead of Larry. There's a very well-known lawsuit because Larry sued the company, and I don't know if he won or they prevailed, but that was one of those thousands of stories that came out of 9/11. And there are many stories that many people, we know what the news presented over and over and over again. Last night I was watching the news and we hear these stories, and there are a lot of people that in there, and that's another story also. As you said, in your own style, Kassira, we lived it. We were there. I was here in New York. I know what it was like. I was in New York.
Where did you live then?
Well, I live in the same place I live now. I'm in Rockland County.
And north of the city.
Yeah.
Okay.
Danny called me. He was on his way to a meeting, and the traffic was so bad. He was on the Jersey side, and he was going downtown, and he saw the plane hit the tower, the first tower, and he called me to see if I was watching the news. And like everybody else, we all thought it was an accident.
Yeah, I saw it too.
Yeah. And
so we don't have to talk. We don't have to tell the rest of the story.
We don't need to tell the rest of the story.
No, we don't have to. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
But I want you to talk for a moment, and I chose this word for a reason, because recognition is the word I chose for tonight. Because I think everybody wants to be recognized. Everybody wants to be acknowledged. Everybody wants to be recognized. And because a lot of people don't feel recognized or get the recognition that they feel that they deserve, that's another charge for anger. So if you want to talk about...
Well, I learned through Buddhism that being recognized by other people isn't as important as being recognized by higher consciousness in the universe. And I trust me, I have been there many, 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 many times where I thought, well, they don't understand what I contribute. They don't understand my talent. They're not, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's really not up to other people. It's up to me to recognize my accomplishments, my hurdles, because I'm really only I know what they are, and my higher consciousness, and it shows me in many ways that higher consciousness recognizes my hurdles, my former struggles, my wins, my accomplishments, and most of all, my evolution. We all, many of us evolve and people don't recognize it. That's not their job. It's our job to recognize our own evolution. That's it, period. If somebody else says, "Oh wow, you've come a long way," that's a bonus gift. That's a bonus, And whatever we believe in, whether it's God, a goddess, higher consciousness, the divine spirit, the divine Yahweh, whatever you call it, it's our own relationship with that as well. That and it only matters. It doesn't matter if nobody else is recognizing what you've done. We know what we've done. I know what I've accomplished. I know what I've been through. You know, Richard, what you've accomplished and what you've been through. So it's really important for us to recognize our own contributions and our own struggles and our own accomplishments and our own evolution.
Did you see what I sent you through Twitter this morning?
I don't remember. You sent me a bunch of stuff today.
Well, go to your Twitter account. I also sent it to Tess. I hope you saw it. And it was from David Bowie. And,
I love David Bowie.
Yes, and it was about art. And I'm going to share this with everybody.
Okay.
And if I can find a way to share this, because it was on Twitter, he said, as artist, and everybody is an artist, whatever you do, you are an artist.
Yeah.
Do what you do because it makes you happy. Find what it is within your soul that you desire to create, and let that be your main goal. He said that anytime you're compromising what you're doing to change that for others, then you are really getting off your path in terms of celebrating that. And that also will cause anger. So I shared that with you this morning. So
I'm sorry I didn't get it, but I'll look for it.
Yes. So I want to do say a couple of things about our sponsors and about next week's show. And then we'll do our giveaway. And then I'm going to say a few closing remarks. And then, of course, you will have the final closing remarks tonight. First of all, next week, we will be back. Our show is called Letting Go of Saying Yes.
Yes.
Yes, which all of us do.
And or no. Yes.
Once again, Kurt Peterson in his memoir concert. Proud ladies, thank you, Kurt Peterson, for sponsoring tonight's show. Everyone, if you are going to be in New York on October 10th, I will be there. So please, if you're able to be there, please do so. Also, Aaron Caleb, thank you for sponsoring tonight. And also...
and on October 9th, my friend Aaron Graylor from LA is going to join us. He's one of my very, very, very best friends of over 30 years.
But we are going to do an early show at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
New York time.
New York time, so that I can attend Deborah Stone's show at
Fabulous
7 evening.
Fabulous.
And that is a full moon day.
Thank you. Yeah, that's why we're doing the show. The moon is my ruling planet. And Aaron is what I call he runs a doctor's office in Beverly Hills, a really demanding position that he has totally accepted. We're going to talk about on October 9th what's going on with the collective consciousness of human beings on the planet on that day. Aaron and I do this a lot. We do it at night. We do it several times a week at night. We'll do some astrology. We'll look at the planets. We'll look at we'll pull some divine cards, and we'll talk about the trend of human beings at the moment. So we're going to do that on October 9th. It's going to be it's going to be really different for this show, yet it's going to be a lot of fun. I think you're really going to enjoy it.
And Tess just said she just learned how to say no at 62 years old.
Oh,
Tess, I want to say, as they say in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, remember on your wedding night, I have a friend, and she, when her kids went to college, she said, remember, yes sometimes means no. So, so anyway, we're going to do a giveaway right now. Thank you all for being here tonight. And let's see who our winner is. If you are the winner tonight, let's see who our winner is going to be. Cherie Callahan. Cherie wins again. So Cherie, reach out to me later and we'll decide what your winning gift is going to be. So thank you. I'm going to remove this. And so, Kassira, recognition. I recognize you. I thank you
Thank you, my love.
for the gifts that you bring to the table. I'm going to
Aw,
give us a close up here.
I love my
So,
Richard.
yes, I love you too. I love you more. So, thank
I
you
don't,
all.
I don't know. Do you love me more? I'm not sure. I'm not sure you do.
Okay. So I want to
might love
thank
you
you
more.
all for being here tonight. Thank you. It is Sunday, which means that when I step off of this, I've got some tweaks to do on the Skipper's Guide, which is my newsletter. It will go out at midnight tonight, and it's a guideline of all of the shows and I've got some amazing people coming up this week. If you want to know who's coming up for the rest of the week and some very special things that I put in there, you can go to richardskipper.com and sign up for the newsletter. Also, if you are interested in sponsoring our show and you would like to get involved there, go to our sponsorship page and see how you can get involved with that as well.
That's Richard's page. Yes, go to his sponsorship page.
And I also want to let you all know that word of mouth is the best advertising in the world. We can have 100 sponsors
and recommendations.
And recommendations, but you going out and talking about this show is absolutely the best. So after tonight's show, please leave a comment on YouTube, share this with your friends, and and just spread the wealth. I also end every show by telling everyone to go out and do something nice for somebody else without expecting anything in return. Go to your Facebook friends list and reach out to the 8th name that pops up and reach out with a phone call. Not an email message, not a text message, not a private inbox message, but a phone call. And especially on a Sunday night, it's important to do that. And let that person know what they mean to you in your life. Because as my dear friend Sean Moniger always says, we're all in this together, but we're not in the same boat. And you never know what someone else is going through right now. But I always say, if you're going to go out in a boat, make sure you bring a skipper and a diva alone. So I'm going to leave the screen right now. And Kassira, you've got the final word right now. And everybody, make it a better tomorrow. It's in your hands. And if anything's bothering you, let that go. Kassira, it's yours. Thank you.
Thank you, darling. I love you. I love you. I love you. So first of all, thank you guys for letting me be myself with my pierced nose and my, what's my look called now? It's called glamour grunge or something. I don't feel like grungy. I feel goddessy. Anyway, thank you, Richard. I love my Richard so much. We have the most amazing conversations, which I shall not divulge. We talk about personal stuff together. We work things out together, which is so beautiful, because how many people do we know that do that, right? And I just adore him. Please, everybody, I'd really, 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 really like to expand the viewership of this particular show. If you like this show and you like the information and you're evolving from our information, please invite your friends. Please invite someone, a relative, a friend, a neighbor. Please invite people to watch this show with you. Believe me, I didn't start this book. I didn't write this book. I didn't start this whole thing to get rich. I did this to assist other people in evolution. Why? Because it's going to change our planet. And that's why I do it. And believe me, that's why Richard does it too. He reads the book apparently every day. He tells me he reads a passage every day. And he's growing, he's evolving. I continue to evolve. And I really feel that all of you that watch this show are evolving. I see it in your comments. I see it in how you react to each other as we go. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. So please, please, please invite friends or neighbors or anybody to watch this show with you. So in my book, and I just saw Cherie says, thank you, Tess. I have always wanted her book. I guess I have to wait to find out what it will be. Cherie, I will send you a book. Friend me on Facebook. I'm the only Kassira McKee on the planet. Not hard to find me on Facebook. And then we'll send each other private messages and I'll get your address. Okay, so there's this wonderful man that owns teaching platform. His name is Vishen Lakiani. I'm sorry, I never pronounce his name right. And I quote him in the book, and it's in the chapter called Negative Stories and Complaining, and it's on page 149. And this is what he says. If there's something I don't like about anything, I do not bitch about it. This is a quote. I change it. Being negative does nothing good except attract more negativity. Instead of complaining, take a small step to change your circumstances. And here's my take on that. If you don't like something, or you're mad at something, or you're mad at somebody, you have two choices. You either accept it and stop complaining about it and stop being angry about it, or you change it and you stop complaining about it and you stop being angry about it. Richard has watched me make a lot of changes in my life since we've known each other. Have I bitched about it? Yes, I have. And then I've made the necessary changes to overcome the situation. And I've gone on to new experiences, new life experiences, and new circumstances. So I just really want to remind you guys, if you're angry, you got two choices. You accept it and stop being angry, or you change it and stop being angry. And try not to do it in a way that hurts someone else. I love you. Please bring more people next week so we can teach them something new and help all of you and all your people evolve. I love you. Bye. Bye.
It's gonna be a brighter day. Don't worry. It's gonna be a brighter day. Yeah, yeah. Don't worry. It's gonna be a brighter day. Don't worry. It's gonna be a brighter day. Don't worry. So don't let nothing get you down. There's goodness all around. Keep the love in your heart and hold your head high. Give all the love and kindness you can to every child, woman, and man. Just know that a change is happening now. You got